This is the Year of Being 70 podcast. Welcome to episode 3 with Lisette Schuitemaker and me, Lucy McCarraher. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Lisette. How are you?
Hello, here we are again. I am actually in a really good place.
Good.
I
That's
feel
nice to
quite
hear.
excited. I'm on top of my work. I have some time in my days. The sun is shining. I have a wonderful week ahead. So, yeah, how are you, Lucy?
That's brilliant. Yes, I've had a busy and a good week. I had in the middle of last week, I had a presentation to our investors on the Bookmagic AI app. Which was sort of 6 months worth of updates and how the app has gone and how users are finding it. And I'm kind of really pleased to say that it's it's kind of you kind of go along and you kind of think, oh yeah, it's all okay, and then you actually have to put a presentation together to say what's happened and kind of round things up and tell people what's going on. And then you realize that 6 months of work has actually been very valuable and good things have happened and our subscribers do love it. We've had fantastic quotes from
Wow.
people. And what I've really well, it's sort of slightly embarrassing as well, because what I thought was that we were producing an app, a book writing coaching app that would take non-writers, especially first-time authors, through from an idea to positioning their book so it aligns with their business, to planning it out in detail, and then to actually writing it with this supported help, partially with AI and just sort of getting them. And it's about structure, really, because I think that's what a lot of writers don't understand, first time writers, that getting something as big as a book together is all about having structure in place. Otherwise, it just starts to fall apart as a project. So I thought that it would be that was who it was. That was who our main market was for, and
Yeah.
but then I thought, well, I've got to write the book magic book. So I will do it in the app and I will, sort of give it a go. But
So you're
secretly,
using your own tool.
exactly. But
Oh, great,
secretly, in
great.
my mind, I was thinking, well, I will do this as a kind of public display of using our app. But actually, I'm an experienced writer. This will be my 14th book. I will probably sort of in the background go to my own, kind of tried and tested using a Word document or several Word documents way of doing it. So I started off, actually using the kind of the beginning bits and thinking, this is rather good. I rather like this. And then the AI kind of summarized everything I'd said to it so far and provided me with an absolutely kind of inspiring kind of summary of what my book was going to be. And I thought, oh, that's rather good. I like that. Thank you. It was really kind of like, quite. I was surprised by how good it was. And then I started planning out the book. And I realized that actually the app worked much better than my old kind of, make a list of what's going in the book in a Word document kind of thing. And then I started writing in it. And I suddenly realized that actually this was a very good app, even for experienced writers like me. And it does make it faster and easier. And structurally you hold it better in your head, and then we started getting in feedback from other experienced writers who had also tried it. I mean, one author who's written 2 academic books, so serious heavy stuff, and she said, no, this is the best, this is the easiest way I found to write a book, and then my third book is going so much faster, and so yes. I'm feeling that
Wow, but
that's.
this is so interesting, Lucy. I'm on Wednesday, I'm going on a writer's retreat for the
Oh,
second time.
wow.
My friend Marie-Lou, she and I are going away for a week of writing. And so here you are recommending me. I went to the launch of this app, and but then I didn't really take it further. But maybe I should download it and in my writer's retreat, kind of because I feel this little pride, like I'm an author and I know
Absolutely.
what I'm about, and I do this manually and I type it all, and this kind of superficial AI thing can't possibly do for me. So I just feel that arising in me like this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is really what I felt as well. I must say that Bookmagic AI does not want you or allow you or advise you to use AI generated content in the writing. It's really important to know that you need to write your own book, because AI is brilliant in that it can access everything on the internet pretty much, and process it quicker than we could even, process one
Yeah.
article.
Then we can even
But
think.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
full
So it's
speed. Yeah.
brilliant at summarizing, making suggestions, um, going into helping with the planning. But we actually have a feature in the app that stops you using the AI generated content in your editor, as we call it, in the writing bit. So I mean, of course, you can do things like cut and paste the AI suggestions into a Word document and then kind of bring it back into the app if you really. But I find that it's actually not worth doing that, because the suggestions are great. There are some pieces that you think, oh yeah, that I could just put that in as it is. But actually, when you then start to just try and tweak it so it's more in your voice, or just
Yeah.
sort of, it takes longer to do that. It's a
Yeah.
great idea, but actually it's then better to rewrite it yourself completely, because it otherwise it just takes longer to kind of edit something
Yeah.
that isn't quite right, rather than just create something that is. And as an
If
author,
I
I
if I
mean,
wanted to use it on my retreat, what are the steps? What should I do?
well, all you have to do is go to https://
Yeah.
bookmagic.ai, and you sign up for well, there's a bit you can do free. You can go into a free account and you can do the positioning bit there. But if you want to kind of move into the planning and writing, you have to. It's a monthly. I mean, it's really. I think it's incredibly good value personally. It's like £40 a month, and you can use it for 1 month and then stop, or use it for as long as it takes. There are two levels at the moment. There's the essential level, which is the £40, or the professional level, which is I think it's £60 a month, or
And
50.
which one did you use?
I think I'm in the professional level. I don't think it would have, but what the other thing it does.
I love how you're kind of protecting me from spending too much
I
money
know
on something that you
I've
developed, Lucy, and that you need to be compensated for well.
I'm a
So,
dreadful
so you,
salesperson.
I see that, yes. But so this professional level, £60. I
It's
mean, hearing you speak, this is well worth it.
I think it is. I really do. And it's certainly, I mean, what it does is it takes everything that I and my coaching team and everybody at Rethink Press has developed over the last 10 years
Yeah.
in terms of coaching and mentoring people through writing. And it puts it into this app. So it's incredibly much cheaper than joining a book writing group,
Yeah.
coaching group, or having one-to-one coaching. It's amazingly cheaper, and you get pretty much all the benefits of that. So yes, that's my sales piece then.
That's your sales piece then. And so you had a presentation to the investors, and you could
Yes.
show them this is not only for first-time authors, but this is also for seasoned and even academic
Exactly. Yes, that's
and
what we
seasoned people
did.
like you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I put together this presentation, and as an eldest daughter, kind of organized everybody else in the team into doing their bits within the presentation. And I think it went very well. The investors were happy. We're about to start a new round of angel investment, so I think we've got a good basis to go on. So that
And
was
what do you need the investment for?
the investment now is for upgrading the app. So there are three main things that we need to do. One is we're going to include self-publishing, a route straight through to self-publishing on Amazon KDP. So at the moment, it's just about writing the book, but so many people have asked us, can we publish through this? And it's clearly that will be a big thing. So it'll be things like AI AI cover design, and AI not editing. You can always bring in a human editor, but it will be like we wouldn't want anybody to put a book out that didn't have correct punctuation, spelling, and grammar. So AI can do that. And then it will design and typeset the interior of the book, and then it will lead you through to publishing, setting up your own account on Amazon KDP, and publishing a book. So
Fantastic. I
so
think it's
that's a
fantastic. I think it is brilliant that you, let's talk about being 70, at age 70, are so with it in, the development of this wonderful tool.
well, it's really good fun, and what I'm enjoying about it too, actually, I have done for the last 10 years, is that I mostly work with people considerably younger than me who are the age of my children, basically. And I have to say, they're very nice to me. They don't ever make me feel like an old, kind of dinosaur, or kind of play the age card with me.
But why would
I
they?
don't know. I just kind of, I mean, this is one of the things that I've thought this week. Why, why are we doing this, Lisette? Why are we kind of advertising that we are 70? Is this a good idea? And should we just be kind of pretending, or just not mentioning it, and just going on doing what we do? And is it
Being
actually,
ageless, being
yeah,
ageless, kind of,
yes,
yeah.
yes, exactly. And
But isn't the whole point, isn't why you came with this question to me in the first place? Being 70 is not like you're sitting behind a geranium, since the expression in Dutch, and just,
that's a
waiting for
great
something to
expression.
happen. But, not all of us are capable of doing that, but many of us are still very much with it. And we have, experience and insight and hopefully some wisdom.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, I think that is why I wanted to
Yeah.
do it, in as much as I thought it through properly at all. But then,
But that's also a difference between us, because you came with the idea, if I may reveal this. And I said, okay, should we talk about it? And should it really be weekly? Maybe it should be, every other week or monthly. Should we make an environment? But you were like, no, let's just start doing it. My birthday is next week. Let's start on my birthday. Let's just plunge in. And so I get to know you better after all these years. You plunge in and then you kind of have second thoughts. Uh,
yes, yes,
well, I have, first thoughts and might never do it. So I'm really grateful for your plunging in.
well, I think, yeah, I think that's that's the kind of partnership element, isn't it? You do stop and think, and do things on a perhaps a more plan. I mean, I suppose, yeah. Now I think about it,
You are a
probably
planner.
everything I've done has just been like, oh, let's do this. This is a good idea.
It's
Um,
so interesting because I am in Lucy's first time fiction writing course. And the whole thing, also about this AI tool for nonfiction, but also the fiction, is you distinguish between plotters and pantsers, right? And so you teach us to plot, and like you said, structure is it all. But in real life, you're a bit of a pantser. So is that true?
Yeah, yeah, I always think of myself as a plotter, and book-wise, I'm a massive plotter. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
I definitely
yeah.
plot, although maybe less than I used to. I think it's really important to externalize structure when you start off as a writer, either fiction or non-fiction. But then I think structure internalizes itself in your head, and you can not necessarily go through the sort of step by step thing so much. Possibly, I don't know, it depends. Some people still like to continue doing that, and I do to some extent. But yeah, you're probably right
The
that on the
Panther
non-book front.
for non-English speaking, pantser. I thought, pantser, what
Yes,
is
well,
pantser? It's like flying by the seat of your pants and then you're a pantser. No, but I think when you write a book, you do need structure. But I often arrive at the structure through writing. I start
yeah,
writing and then I go like, oh, this could actually be like this and like that. And actually later today, I have a meeting with my friend Marie-Lou, with whom I'm going on the writers retreat, and my friend Frank. He lost his wife 5 years ago, and she still had a book in mind. It was called The Inner Life of Money. And so then my friend Frank asked Marie-Lou, who I didn't really know at the time, and me if we could write her book, which of course we couldn't. So we've been at this almost 5 years now,
Wow.
and still nowhere. But this afternoon, I don't know, I've presented them with versions. This is like my 17th time that I come with a potential,
Oh,
structure.
wow. So that's what your writer's retreat is for.
Yeah,
This
it's
the
full.
book that you actually brought into my first time female fiction
Yes,
program to
because then I thought
write as a novel.
maybe writing it in fiction, and I might still do that, but I was writing in fiction in English, and now I'm writing nonfiction in Dutch.
That's amazing.
Would your AI app, your Bookmagic, also work in Dutch?
Yes, I think it does. I think you can choose your language. I
But
think
of
that's right.
course,
I mean,
so much
you can
more has
write
been
in whatever
inputted.
language you want.
But
Um,
so much more has been inputted in the internet in English than in Dutch.
yes, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if it does translation. I don't know. Give it a try and let me know
Yeah.
how it works. That'd be really.
Also, when you talk about what kind of structure, I mean, I could do that in English and then I can still write in Dutch. That
Yes,
also
yeah,
takes
absolutely.
away yeah, the
Yeah, I mean,
copy,
you're
the copy
lucky and
paste.
clever in that you are by try however many lingual. But certainly you.
Yeah.
But you can when you go into Book Magic, you can choose. I think you can choose your language and for the AI to respond to you in, and you can also choose the tone of voice. So, do you want it to talk to you in a formal way or an informal
Oh, yeah.
way? Make suggestions in a casual kind of way, or so yes, you could try out different things. But that's so interesting. And I mean, I have never been on a writer's retreat. I mean, I've run them for other people, but I have never been on one myself. Do they work for you?
Well, we call it a writer's retreat, but it's basically the two of us sitting somewhere remote and not looking at her, ignoring our emails and our WhatsApp. And as dutiful, she's also an eldest daughter. So dutiful eldest daughters by about 9:15. We're each behind on our own table behind our computers. And then in the afternoon, then we go for lunch or we make lunch in the afternoon. We kind of are in our own research. And in the evenings, we spend together and we go to bed early. That's basically what we do.
It sounds
And it
lovely.
worked
It sounds perfect.
really, really well in the summer. I typed away like mad all the things that have been in my head already. And now I have a structure and yeah, we'll see how that works.
Fantastic. So are you both writing the book together? I mean, there's an
Well,
interesting,
that's how we started to write.
yeah,
The first year was all we can't really write her book. And then during COVID, we spoke to lots of people. And so the idea is that if you have some money, then what? What, how do you relate to either what you've earned, what has accidentally come your way, what you've inherited, or to a family business or money that is in the family? How do you relate to it? How do you feel that that money is yours? And then how does that money make you happy? Which I think is through sharing it and enabling other people's endeavors and not by hoarding it and trying to make necessarily more of it, uh, but to put it into causes either investment wise or in gifts or sharing it with people around you that that warm your heart and that you feel make the world a better place. So that's
that's
the whole
wonderful.
idea of it. And it's also very much to my friend Margaret, who passed 5 years ago. Another thing she started was a thing called Women's Wealth Matters, because she said so many women are coming into money and some really take charge of it. But there's also still women who go like, oh, it's my husband's thing, or my father, my brother, my bank manager,
Yeah.
and kind of don't really own And I feel it's like any other talent. We need to, part of the journey of life is to find out who you are, what you are about, what your life wants you to do in a way, what your inner life wants you to bring out, and to become aware of the talents that you have. And I see money, which, talent is a Roman Latin word for money. It's another talent that you have. So how can you bring it out into the world in a way that, enhances your your having been here, your being here?
That's wonderful. And I think there are people, and it may be that I have this sort of subconsciously too, who think that money is not the root of all evil, but sort of almost slightly tainted. It taints things in a way. If you make money your primary objective, there's something not quite right about it. And I'm sure that isn't.
Yeah. Now, if you make money your primary objective, that's very strange, I feel.
But
But
there
if
are people
you
for whom
feel,
money is, I
yeah,
mean, like, for me, kind of writing and books is, the thing. But for some people, it genuinely is, money is exciting. And
and
the,
money is
yes,
exciting.
I'm sure.
I love money. I really love money because it feels to me, I see it like energy. It's this amount of energy extra that in a way I can spend or gift or invest or in all the time making things possible for other people
That's
who
wonderful. So
I
this book
appreciate. And
is going to be a manifesto for doing good with money in
um
a way.
yeah, and I think, doing good, because that is, we see that differently, what is good for some people is,
Yes, yes, indeed.
idealism or silliness for other people. Um, but I think you feel good when you do good.
Yeah,
That's basically it. And if we, I feel I live in a way in community. So how can I make my money communal, whilst still kind of giving direction to it?
that's
Yeah.
really
And
very
like the people who invest, in your Bookmagic, if I love that, at some point we're called angel investors.
Yeah, no, yes, it's
It's
what it's
like an
lovely.
angel. You kind of believe in a person and in a project, and you think, I want this to happen in the world. And it may fail because it's an experiment, it's pioneering. We don't really know whether this is going to work, but it needs to happen. So maybe a next or a next or a next project can happen in the same area, in the same general direction. But also for you, it's people want to make things available. And then they're compensated for their pioneering and also for those ventures that don't pull it off.
Yes, no, there is I really like that way of looking at things, and I really love your kind of your premise about, women not having taken control of, or kind of put their energy into money and feeling like
Yeah.
it shouldn't be their thing. It's somehow, I don't know, is it kind of unfeminine somehow to like money, to want to make money? Is it
I
part
think
of
because
our,
so many of us weren't really, educated in that
no,
way. It was a man's thing. I speak to
yeah,
some members of a quite large family, and women were excluded from the conversations. And
yeah,
even now, these men, from that particular family will go hunting together or go off on trips together, and they'll speak about all these businesses, and it's only the men. So now the women from that big family, it's a huge family, have gotten together and say, what do we actually want to talk about? And we also, are in this realm. But I find it interesting too that you say, money is slightly tainted, because I don't see what is wrong with money.
no, of course not. I mean, I say that not as a kind of
Yeah,
that's the right way to look at it, but there's
no.
just a kind of
But if you look at it that way,
residual, yeah. I mean,
then you
I've
kind of also keep it out a bit. Where
yes.
as you love it, uh, or love it, but kind of love what it can do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel that I've got kind of ancestral kind of thoughts about feelings about money that maybe have kind of coalesced in me. And on the one side, my mother's kind of family was quite aristocratic, so you didn't talk about money, you just had it. It was kind of vulgar to talk about it. And on my father's side, they were all vicars and teachers, so money
Yeah.
was that's more the kind of like slightly, I mean, not that, I have to say they did rather well as vicars and teachers. They ran big schools and they built, I mean, one of the biggest churches in Brighton was built by my one of my father's, I
Yeah,
don't
he
know,
must have done
he
fundraising
must have done
on,
all right, but
the faithful. Yeah.
yeah, but the sort of the Christian attitude is money is could be the root of all evil, or
Yeah.
the rich man passing through the eye of a needle and that sort of
Yeah.
thing. So I wonder if that kind of thing sort of
Yeah.
affects people's mind, anybody's your background and where it comes from, how you think about it
Yeah.
is
Yeah, and
relevant.
that's also why the relationship to money is so interesting, because we all have a relationship to money, whether we, keep it away from us or feel it is tainted, or whether we want it in the extreme to be somehow safe or important, or all these things. Money is, we project, all our hopes and fears are kind of projected onto money, but money in itself is a flow of energy. And
Yes.
of course, I mean, when I look at the source, or how it comes to me, that's not fully what I agree with.
So money comes to you from sources that you don't necessarily yes, as you say,
Yeah, so
agree
my
with.
father worked for a family business, not our family, and
Right.
helped it grow immensely, and was awarded shares in that business. And then so we inherited some of those shares. And yeah, so they are now pulling out of, fossil fuels, but they were in there, sorry, for a long time. And I don't think they're doing that fast enough. And they're saying, well, we're doing it as fast as we can. So I go to the shareholder meeting and ask questions, have for the last 25 years asked questions about sustainability
Wow.
and regeneration. And now there's a little pod of us. We call ourselves, the rebel shareholders. But there is a conversation, and I mean, it's a big company, works worldwide. It can't just change its course, but it is
No, of
not
course. But that's
a pioneer in the new industry, or regenerative industry. And yeah, so there's always the dilemma: should I stay in, or should I sell it all and do other things? Or what I do now, what I've done for the past decades, you think of myself as kind of a, yeah, in Dutch we say transformatorhuis, where the electricity comes in and there's this little box,
transformer.
kind of a
Yeah.
transformer. Yes, so I take it and I kind of pass it on, and put it into pioneering, idealistic, risky things.
That's wonderful.
And
So you're a kind of personal money laundering
yes,
machine
yeah, in I hope in the best
in
possible.
the best possible way.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
No, that's a lovely way to look at it. That's very interesting. I think that also I have a slight, it's just kind of dawned on me literally this minute, that I have a slight fear of money. Because
Ah,
as I've said before, I grew up in a posh environment where there was a lot of rich people and a lot of sense of entitlement. And
yeah,
just I do fear, and I do see, and that people who have money and people who gain money start to feel, in my view, too easily that they deserve it, and that they're special, and
yeah.
that
They can
money
be
is,
first in line. They can be waited
yeah,
on upon it. Yeah, all those things that, you and I don't want to be.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And you see this playing out, I would say, in an area of the United States political scene at the moment. But I mean, I think I suppose I fear, in a way, making money and sort of and I wonder if I hold myself to a quite a low level, if you like, of money ownership, unconsciously. I mean, I obviously don't do this on purpose, because I fear the sort of the sense of entitlement it might kind of bring with it. That I start to feel that I deserve it because I'm so good at what I do, or I'm a special person, or
Well, I
and I
think you do deserve it because you are so good at what you do, and you are a special person, but not more special than anyone else.
no, exactly,
But this
exactly.
entitlement and a kind of arrogance and a kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, that's something to look out for and to, to, yeah, to be aware of. But we don't necessarily need to become like other people with money.
No,
And
no,
so,
of
but
course
I
not.
do think fear and thinking money is tainted subconsciously, keep us at a certain spot.
Yeah.
And how can we start to see that, money is it's just a wonderful thing to have. And I'm kind of, it always flows to me.
I know that's I
It always flows to
so
me. It is like, even whatever I do, it kind of comes to me. And so I can let it flow out too. Like yesterday, I
yeah,
was at an exhibition where artists, I like to buy jewelry of contemporary artists, and so there are these artists who present what they have made, and when I make a purchase, they feel so happy, not only for the money that comes into their life, so they can continue to do what it is they are called to do, but also for my joy in wearing it, the recognition of their work, the gallery owner. There is happiness all around, um, and I
yeah,
go, wow, isn't that wonderful? And it
no,
is direct. I know the gallery owner now. I get in touch with this German artist who lives in the Netherlands, and I go like, wow, I'm going to kind of follow her on Instagram and follow her work, and we develop a relationship, and it's just wonderful.
that's yeah, that you're so right. Of course, money has such power to do good, and just the fact that some money doesn't do good or actively does bad doesn't mean that we should shy away from being on the good
Reject the
side
whole
or
thing.
reject the whole thing. No,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I suspect that's somewhere down in my subconscious. I suspect that's what I do. Do you think at our advanced age, well, my advanced age, do you think there's any hope for me being able to change my attitude and open up to the sort of the flow of money in a better way?
What do you think I'm going to answer here, Lucy? Do you think I'm going to say no? No, I
No,
think
too
you
old. You've had
do.
it now. That's it.
Yeah. No, I think, you know, life isn't over until it's over. And our awareness, we can change. Once we become aware of certain patterns that have us, we can start to have them and see, oh, it's playing out here. It's playing out here. Let me change this.
Yeah.
And maybe I sought some professional help for a pattern, even in what I recognize as an eldest daughter pattern. We can talk about this another time. From a woman, a friend of mine said you need to do psyche, which is kind of a new psychological tool in which you twist your hands like this and you cross your feet, so your left and right brain hemisphere go like, what is now left and what is now right.
Oh,
And she
wow.
tests you for limiting beliefs that you have, and you can change it straight away.
Goodness. That's
And there was
amazing.
something that played out in my relationship with Jos, and
That's your partner.
that's my partner. And there's some pattern that we get stuck in. And just yesterday I said to him, isn't it wonderful how how good things are again between us and how we're enjoying things again. And so I think, yes, we can do a lot by shining our light on patterns and then kind of releasing them a bit, experimenting a bit. And
That's
we may talk
fascinating.
about this topic more because I really,
Yeah, absolutely. I love this idea of the twisting of left and right because
yeah.
have you ever read books by a man called Ian Gilchrist about he is particularly, I mean, they're so dense and so academic, they're actually quite hard to read,
Oh,
but about the left and right
emissary,
hemisphere.
the
Um,
master and the emissary.
Yes, yes, that is exactly. I mean, I think I'm about a third of the
Interesting.
way through,
Yeah,
but I mean, it's
yeah,
and I've been reading it for about 2 years on and off.
yeah,
But that is fascinating how how our right and left hemispheres have very different views of the world, and
yeah,
you can hold. I mean, it accounts to me for things like, I sort of I'm very logical and scientific, and I don't believe in anything outside the physical world in one sense. And on the other hand, I'm totally into uh, uh, ghosts and spirits and all sorts of spiritual things. And it's yeah, I mean, and I can hold those two completely different beliefs at the same time.
yeah. Left and right. Interesting. Interesting. I am more of the spiritual. I live in a living universe. Oh,
Yes, I know my screen has frozen.
your screen has frozen
But
for you too. Yes. Are you still here?
I am still
Is
here.
there
Yes,
life
sorry
out
about that.
there? Is there life out
Yes,
there? That's exactly what we were
maybe this
speaking
is what I
about.
was talking about. There's, something's kind of entered my Zoom.
Yeah,
But yes, that's all fascinating. So maybe we should talk about that more next week. Very
we
interesting.
will.
Well, we've talked about money, which was not at all what we planned to talk about this week, but I think it's been
And we've talked about Bookmagic AI,
we
which
have.
I is very useful, comes in very useful. And there, I still have a bit of a fear and a bit of a, but I will get over that
Well, that's
and try it and have a subscription, a professional subscription, because a professional is what I am.
of course you are. Absolutely.
Okay,
Okay, well, that has been another fascinating conversation.
at least for us. I hope for others too.
I hope so too. Please do let us know what you think.
Yes, and see you next
We'll
week.
talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.